Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the road. I've done one of these from America at Magic Live. I've done one of these from Blackpool when Ryland was performing at the House of Secrets. I am once again on the road. I'm in a hotel room in Los Angeles because in a couple of days' time or a few days' time, Ryland is going to be performing live in the live rounds of America's Got Talent, and it is full on over here. Ryland's currently with Matt. I've brought Matt over here with me to help Ryland rehearse. He's been absolutely amazing. Couldn't have done this without Matt. And Ryland's currently in Matt's room rehearsing. We've got to be kind of with AGT in about an hour and a half, and this is literally the only time that I've got to film this Q&A. So it's going to probably be a short one, but I didn't want you guys to think that I was forgetting you or that I hadn't filmed the Q&A this week. So here it is. This is your Q&A. It might be a quick one because I might have to race off at any minute because obviously my priority has to be Ryland this week. But I'm going to try and get to as many questions as I can. Don't forget, I normally film this on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Try to get all the questions in by then if you want to guarantee to have your question answered. If I miss it, please ask it again. I'll get to it the following week. Sometimes I do miss questions. I apologize. And finally, and you get my raw and filtered opinion. I haven't looked at these questions at all. I'm just giving you my off-the-cuff answers. So, yeah, if one of these I think would be good for a longer video, then I will do that as a longer video as well. But with that being said, we're going to get into it. We're getting into it right now. So here it is. This is this week's Q&A, live from Los Angeles. Okay, so the first question is from Devaro10, who says, does Ryland perform daily at school? What do his teachers think? Do they mention magic at parents' evening? So his teachers are super proud of him. He tends to keep magic separate from school. When he's at school, he does stuff that a kid does at school. He does, you know, he's in football team, stuff like that. He's a little bit frustrating for Ryland because none of his friends do magic at school. So he can't really talk about magic to his friends at school because they wouldn't understand. He leaves that for the YMC and when he sees his friends on Zoom or whatever it is that he's doing. But at school, he doesn't really talk magic that much. He does perform magic, but not constantly. He's not like running around constantly doing magic. And one of the reasons is he's got so many other things he's into as well as magic. So that kind of takes the focal point when he's at school, if that makes sense. But you know, he does do shows at school. So just before we came to America, he did a show for his school, for the summer school club. He did like a 1 hour show and did a workshop as well. So he does perform in school, but it's normally when he's asked to do a performance or something like that. His teachers, like I said, are super proud of him. They mentioned that he's very outgoing and confident, and that's probably got something to do with what he's experienced with magic. No, he doesn't, you know, I mean, I know they're proud of him, but, you know, magic isn't a big thing for Ryland when he's at school. It's more of a bigger thing for when he's outside of school. It's kind of like he keeps his, it's almost, he described it to me once as it's like Bruce Wayne and Batman. You know, it's kind of like by day, he's your average school kid, and by night, he's super magician. It's kind of that sort of thing. Okay, so the next question is, what cube are you, this is by Ray Eden World of Magic, what cube are you using in the Cube 52 tutorial? Is it available on Amazon? It's the cube from the Refractor Project, which is by Kev G and Colin Klaus. So Kev G and Colin Klaus do the Refractor Project. It's absolutely amazing. And if you've got Cube 52, you'll know that Kev and Col put a bunch of material on there, 3 hours of stuff with regular ungimmick cubes, which blew my mind. I use their cube if I'm doing ungimmick cube stuff. The only time I won't is if I'm doing stuff that revolves around gimmicked cubes, and then I'll be using a Henry Harriet as sort of RD cube because that matches all the cube gimmicks. But generally, I tend to use, if I'm doing ungimmicked cube magic, and pretty much everything I do with Cube 3 is ungimmicked, I'll use the cube from Kevin Cole. It's one of the best cubes I've ever played with, and I do own a lot of speed cubes. So if you go into the Refractor Project, I've just Googled it. It's on there. You can get it directly from them. Okay, so the next question is from Lee. No, it's not. It's Mike Tyson by TKO. Hey, man. How you doing? Hey, buddy. Just received Cube 52 in the mail today. I'm loving it. Thank you so much. I have some pretty poor vision like you say that you have. Do you struggle between the marks of yellow and white? I'm sure I'll get used to it. The tutorial is another loaded set. Congrats. No, you know what? That was something I was worried about. I was worried about whether I would be able to differentiate between orange and red and white and yellow. I don't have a problem at all. Once you've got used to the deck, you'll be able to read those marks from a mile off. Like, even if you've got terrible vision like I have, totally not an issue. And if you actually think about all the routines that use marks, the marks, there's never a point where you have to very quickly spot a card. You know, you've got plenty of time to do it because of how the routines are constructed. So it's totally not an issue. Okay, so the next question is from Lee Mill Magic, who says, hey, Craig, keep up the good work. Thank you, buddy. I recently did a 2-week run at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival to work my family magic and ventriloquism show. Almost every show was sold out or close enough. How would you capitalize on this? I'm not sure where to go next. Thanks as always. Well, I've never done the Edinburgh Fringe, so you're probably asking the wrong person about this. But I did do the Brighton Fringe, and I never had an interest, even from years back. I never was one of these people that wanted to do fringe festivals every year. I know there's a lot of people that do fringe festivals every year, and I know it does amazing for their career. It's not something that I ever wanted to do. The reason I did the Brighton Fringe is because I was trying to get into the holiday park circuit and get on the radar of the people that book acts for holiday parks. And so what I did is when I went to the Brighton Fringe, I reached out to all the entertainment agencies and I said, hey, I'd like to offer you a free ticket. I think I'm perfect for what you're looking for holiday parks, and I'd like you to come and see the show. And they did, and off the back of that, I got a contract, and I spent the next 3 years doing holiday parks, which really helped me work my illusion show in. That was my reason for doing it. And I think in terms of how you'd capitalize on it now, we'll get to that in a second, but really I think that you have to know why you're doing the fringe festivals in the first place when you go into it. Are you going there to get tons of reviews? In which case you want to invite like all of the review newspapers and so on and so forth to come and watch your show so that you've got a chance to get reviews. Are you trying to get in with particular agencies? Then, you know, send an email out or get in touch with the entertainment agencies or the event planners or the bookers that you want to work with and get them to come and see your show. You know, it depends on what you're trying to achieve, but I would go in knowing what you want out of that festival, because you know as well as me, it's not about making money. When you consider how much work you have to do to promote it and how much work you have to do and the cost of being up there for a couple of weeks, the cost of traveling over there, turning down the other work because you're working, it can be really expensive. It's not exactly something that you do for a profit unless you're actually a really big act that you know is going to do big numbers, that's already got a sort of a big following. If you haven't got that, then I would kind of say, you know, it's not about the money, it's about other things, and know what those things are before you get there. In terms of where you are right now, you've had 2 weeks of sold out shows. That's absolutely amazing. Do you have video footage? Because if you have video footage, well, it depends on what you're wanting to do. You say, where do you go next? It depends on what you wanted to do. Like I wanted to do holiday parks. If you want to kind of go into a particular type of circuit, you could use the footage that you've got and the reviews that you've got and the fact that you've had 2 weeks of sold out shows to put some videos together and send those out to the clients, to the bookers that you're trying to impress, you know, and try and get on their radar that way. Really, you want to look at the interview with Oliver Meach. So I did an interview on this channel with Oliver Meach, and he had some incredible advice on how to actually do fringe festivals. That's the interview that I would look at, because he broke everything down. As I say, he's got more experience than I have. I'd also reach out to people that do festivals every single year, do the fringe every year, people like Tom Crosby, people like Oliver Meach, and just say to them, hey, you know, I've done this, where do you think I should go now? What do you think I should do next? And get some advice from those people. I know that it becomes quite addictive doing the Edinburgh Fringe. You go every year, and every year you put a new show together, and that helps really push yourself out there. Elliot Bibby, I know, does a show every single year. You might want to look at Elliot's interview on Magic TV as well. But it's kind of where you want to go with this. You know, at the end of the day, having a 2 week sold out run at the Edinburgh Fringe is an asset. So think about your goals, think about where you want to be next, and use these assets to enable you to get there. That's what you have to do. I can't really tell you where to go next because I don't know where you personally want to take this act. I don't know what you want to do with this act, but once you know that, use all of this as a jumping off point. Okay, so the next question is from Magic Man, who says, I see that both you and Michael Webber are at Magic Live. Did you have a chance to have a chat and clear the air about the whole EDC issue? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Look, I wasn't going to talk about this on the channel, but as you asked the question, I was more than happy to kind of bury the hatchet with Michael, and I've reached out to Tim Trono, and me and Tim spoke at Magic Live, and I shook his hand, and everything was fine. But I feel that I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think that I don't know. It's a very difficult question to answer. I was I didn't really see Michael Webber that much at all. I was busy on the Penguin move. And the other thing is, I didn't want to cause a fight or cause an argument when I was being paid to be there and representing Penguin, especially as Tim Trono works at Penguin Magic. I thought that would have been very, very unprofessional of me. So I didn't want to kick up a fuss in any way, shape or form anyway. And I didn't really see Michael Webber. The one time I did see him, I was standing just inside the dealer room. It was early on. There were only a few people there. I was talking to somebody and he just walked past me and he said, hey, he didn't sort of acknowledge me or go, hey, Craig, how you doing? Or anything like that. But what he did do is he walked past me and he went, Magic Mafia coming through. And that told me, and you know, before that happened, I was thinking, well, maybe I should go over to his booth. Maybe I should shake his hand. That's what I've done with Tim Trono. Maybe I should bury the hatchet. Maybe I should do that sort of thing. You know, and then he did that, which was an obvious dig, because when I was doing those videos, I said that there's a Magic Mafia. I still believe there's a Magic Mafia. You know, I don't think there was any need for that, because he was in the wrong at the end of the day. He was in the wrong. He was the one that spent 20 years hiding behind a fake account. And you know what? When you go back and you look at New Guy and you look at the posts that he made on on Magic Cafe, and you look at it, knowing that that is Michael Webber, you realize that he was interjecting himself into almost every single product he ever bought out, talking about how amazing he is. I mean, this is the sort of person that we're dealing with here. This is the sort of person that he's dealing with here. And I didn't do anything wrong. I kept things behind the scenes. I kept the dialogue going between myself and Michael. And every single time we went back and forth, you know, it was all very civil. And it was only when I felt that I was being pushed into a corner that I brought things out into the open, because I wanted to be in control of the narrative. If it was going to come out and he was going to, you know, we don't want another Red situation. If that was going to happen, I wanted to be the person that was actually putting this information out there as to what happened. I don't feel I did anything wrong at all. He was the one that lied on the Magic Cafe to my face when I said very early on in that thread, are you Michael Webber? And he said no. And then later on it was proven that he was. He was the one that was lying through his teeth in public to me to make himself look better. That's what we have here. That's the scenario that we have here. I don't feel like I should be the first. Now, I was more than happy to bury the hatchet. Absolutely more than happy to bury the hatchet. But when somebody walks past you and says, Magic Mafia coming through, when you went on the Magic Cafe and lied through your teeth to try and don't forget, you know, New Guy said on those posts that he went and he knows that Michael Webber bought the rights to New Wave Prediction to put Craig in his place. This is a guy who obviously doesn't like me. This is the guy that's been trying to end my career for a long time. And this is the guy who lied through his teeth and made himself look like a dumb fucking idiot on the Magic Cafe. I shouldn't be the person that comes to him and apologizes. He's the one that should come to me and say, sorry, I lied. Sorry, I was such a fucking dickhead. I really, 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 really regret my actions. But no, what he does is he walks past and he says, Magic Mafia walking through. That's what he does, right? A little snide jab. So, no, I didn't have a chat with Michael Webber. And there's a couple of different reasons why not. One, I thought maybe I should, but I didn't want to get into an argument when I was being paid to be there by Penguin. And two, it got to a point that when he did that little demonstration of, hey, Magic Mafia coming through, now he was being a dick. He was being a dick. He could have just turned around and said, hey, Craig, let's go and get a cup of coffee. Now, yeah, there's people that are going to be watching this that's saying, Craig should have gone there and done that. Craig should have been the person that extended an olive branch. Well, maybe I should have. Maybe I'm in the wrong. Maybe I should have extended the olive branch. But maybe he should have as well. Because at the end of the day, the person who was the victim in all of this was me. And I've moved past it. I haven't talked about this for months. I wasn't even going to talk about it now. I'm only talking about it is because it's been asked as a question. And I'm very honest when it comes to answering questions. The bottom line is, if Michael Webber's listening to this, or one of Michael Webber's mates are listening to this, tell him, I'm more than happy to bury the hatchet. I'm more than happy to move on. I'm more than happy to have a civil conversation and shake hands and say, hey, let's move on. He's got my phone number. I know he's got my phone number because his mate Tim Chono's got my phone number. He phones me up. There's no reason why Michael Webber can't phone me up. There's no reason why I don't have Michael Webber's phone number. I'm not connected to him on any platform at all. He's not. I'm an easy guy to find. Ask Tim for my number. Call me up. Just like you, Michael. I'm a new guy. I want to bury the hatchet, and I want to move on. But I don't want any bullshit, snide, little Magic Mafia crap. If you want to call, if you want to bury the hatchet, that's absolutely fine. The ball's in your court. Okay, so the next question is the Wow Factory 4737, who says, what would you say are the staple 3 tricks for doing corporate strolling magic? It's impossible to say, isn't it, really? It very much depends on the individual. You could ask 100 different people who do strolling magic, and they would probably all say the same thing. In all honesty, most would probably say ambitious card, omni deck, double cross, and card to wallet, and extreme burn. Those seems to be the ones that every corporate magician does. I try to be a little bit different and step outside step outside a little bit. For me, corporate strolling, if you're talking about strolling, Keymaster and all the variations thereof. So Keymaster, the original routine, the ring and string routine, Gatekeeper, they're all there. That's something that I open with an awful lot. Coins across, going into 3-5, and then a coin vanish sequence. That's something that I do an awful lot. And then my strolling cube routine, which combines some of the elements from Cube 52 from the ultimate strolling routine, if you've got Cube 52, along with some other bits and pieces as well. That is my favorite. That is my favorite stuff to do strolling, because also a lot of people don't do that. I like to be different and stand out and be a little bit original. And that's why I stopped doing double cross. There's nothing wrong with it. I love it. And I know a lot of people do it and get great reactions for it, but I tend to go in a different direction. So they would be the 3. If I had to pick just 3, it'd be some sort of coin routine, Gatekeeper stroke Keymaster, and some sort of cube stuff with Cube 52. There's a million other things, but probably they're the ones that I would gravitate to first of all. Okay, so the next question is from Chris Ash. Hey Chris, hope you're well. Chris is amazing. He came to watch Ryland's show for a couple of days at the House of Secrets. And Chris says, hi Craig, will there ever be a time when you have a residency at the House of Secrets or similar venue? Probably not. Ryland's as close to getting his residency as you can get, because he's there pretty much every single month, performing on multiple dates. So I think that's the definition of a residency, right? The problem is, I used to do lots of residencies in restaurants back in the day. And the problem is I'm kind of too busy to do that these days. I pick and choose the gigs that I do. I do the gigs that I like the look of, that look fun to me. A lot of them are stage gigs, but some of them aren't. Some of them are close-up jobs. But, I'm busy. I'm running multiple different companies, producing content for the Netrix, producing content for Magic TV, running around doing stuff like this for Ryland. I've basically become Ryland's bitch over the last few years. So I wouldn't have time to have a residency. Maybe 15 years ago, that's something I would love to do. Now, not so much. I know Ryland would love a residency. He regularly performs at various different venues like Drayton Manor, Hotel, and House of Secrets. But me, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Okay, so the next question is from Mike Tyson by TKO again, who says, hey buddy, hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, very good, thank you very much. Here's the question: what's your top 10 favorite Craig Petty creations? Go from 10 to 1 for suspense. I think I own all of your recent creations and gossip to current, so I'm very curious. Oh boy, man, this would probably be a longer video. This would definitely be a longer video. I don't think I could do that off the cuff. And I'd have to factor in some other stuff as well. But the things change. And what I mean by that is my favorite trick changes on almost a week-to-week basis. Because you got to understand that when something comes out, I've probably been working it for about a year to a year and a half. So when it comes out, I'm probably at that point working on something else, and I am not using that as much as I did. It's still part of my number one set, absolutely. But I have a very eclectic range of magic, and I'm constantly changing things around, like always. So for example, just before I came here, I did a close-up job, and I was doing a load of Beyond Stepping stuff, which I hadn't done in for probably about a year. And I just grabbed my Beyond Stebbins deck, and I was like, you know what, I haven't done that in ages, let's go and take that out. And then you get the reactions, and you're like, oh, this is amazing, why have I stopped doing that recently for a while, you know? So everybody's buzzing about Cube 52 at the moment, because obviously that's the new trick that's come out, but I've spent the last year and a half working on that. I'm now working on stuff called Villains, which is something you'll probably see in 2025. I'm now working on some Sharpie type magic, which you'll probably see in 2025. I'm now working on stuff that I'm now working on the Infinity deck, which is a creation by myself and Lloyd Barnes, and is not, I repeat, not the Gaff deck, but something completely different that me and Lloyd have been jumping on phone calls with recently all the time, because we're very excited about it. So it's very difficult to put these sort of lists together, because when I get asked this question, it's normally something that contractually I can't talk about, because that's the thing that I'm working in, you know, because one of the things about my magic, and one of the reasons most of my magic has such an expansive range of material, is because I work it in a lot, right? So because I spend so much time working this magic in, that's the thing that I'm constantly working on. So if you ask me right now, what's my favorite? Right now, I'd probably say the Infinity deck, because that's the one I'm going out and doing every single gig. But you're not going to see that until 2025. So it would have to be a list on what my favorite routines are that I've created that have been published. And I'm more than happy to do that. Absolutely more than happy. And there's going to be some on there like maybe you don't even know about, like Quarantine is something that I love doing, and that came out 15 years ago and you can't get that anymore. But bonus points for anybody who's watching this who remembers Quarantine, but it was my version of the Omni deck. And it was great back in the day. It was absolutely amazing, but it's just as good now. So yeah, I'll put that list together. I don't think this is the time to do it, because I'd really want to think it through. It's not something I'd want to say off the cuff, but I will put that together and I'll put it out as a video soon. Okay, so the next question is from my friend James Samuel, who is an amazing social media magician. And he says, I've just noticed an old Wizard product review clip circulating in a magic forum. Great memories. Yeah, man. You know what? I loved working with Penn. I really did. I know the clip you're talking about, and he commented on there and said he was the one that had to deal with the complaints. And it's true, you know, it was a sweet gig for me, because I got to go out there and say what I wanted, and rant and rant and rant and rant and rant and do dumb, stupid stuff, which made the show as popular as it is. But I didn't have to deal with any of the flack, because it was branded for World Magic Shop. So it was David Penn that had to deal with all the fallout of all of that stuff all of the time. You know, yeah, it was good. It was good times. I'd love to get Ryland's thoughts on some of the infamous products you ranted about back in the day. Springboard by Jesse Feinberg and Drink Magic by Michael P. Lair come to mind. I wonder if there's something you hated that he would love today. You know what? That would be a really fun video. Revisit 5 reviews from the Wizard product review, and then ask Ryland to review them. I think that would be amazing. James, I'm going to do that. I think that would be brilliant. Okay, so the next question is from Divishan Magician, who says, what are your opinions on magicians that absolutely refuse to ever do magic to kids? Like if a kid comes to them at an event and asks, can I see a trick? And they say no. Yeah, I mean, I personally, You know what? There's magicians out there that are terrified of performing magic for children. I know that. I get that. They've never done kid shows. They've never wanted to do kid shows. They've only wanted to be a corporate entertainer, and then they don't want to do magic for kids. So when a kid comes up to an event, they try and avoid them. Okay, that's fine. If that's their thing, that's fine. I personally think that as a close-up magician, I should be able to perform for anybody I meet at an event. And if I'm ever going to go and get booked for a summer barbecue or a wedding, there's probably going to be kids there. And if there's going to be kids there, I should think through what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not suggesting that every close-up magician starts learning Dippy Duck or, starts learning that sort of stuff. But maybe just spend a little bit of time thinking about how you can actually perform magic for children and make it so that they enjoy it. Because a lot of the time, you don't have to do it in a kiddie way. You don't have to go, right then, children, it's now time to do a magic trick for you. Who's excited? Because that's just belittling them, But being able to perform a trick, and ultimately, at the end of the day, it's very easy to do. You do sponge balls, you do a coin routine, you do something like that to a kid. A kid's going to love it just as much as an adult is. So, yeah, it doesn't annoy me or anything, but I do think that every magician should be able to perform magic for children. Okay, we have another question from Different Magician. Has Ryland ever read or watched Harry Potter? Yeah, he's a huge Harry Potter fan. He's read them like 3 or 4 times, watched them multiple times. In fact, he does a Harry Potter themed show. The day that we get back from LA, the next day he's in Newmarket doing a Harry Potter themed stage show for 40 minutes where he's going to be doing all of his normal stuff, but he's going to be dressed as Harry Potter, and he loves that. So yeah, he's read and watched Harry Potter many, many times. Okay, so the next question is from MCK Magic, who says, thanks so much for your advice, Craig. You're more than welcome. How do you recommend getting gigs as a beginner kids comedy magician? Should I try to get gigs for free and use them for videoing and get clips for marketing and social proof? Or just try to get a restaurant gig and use them to get gigs? What worked out for you when you were starting out? All much appreciated. Thanks for your help on my magic journey. Also, do the BMC, okay, that's the Blackpool Magic Club, day tickets cover lectures, or are they just the gala shows? I'm new to the Blackpool game, and I want to know before buying flights. If you buy a ticket to Blackpool, that'll cover everything. Lectures, dealer hall, gala show, that'll cover everything. If you get the expansive ticket that covers the whole event. If you get a day ticket, I'm not sure if it covers the gala show. It might cover the gala show for that day. I don't know. It's best to send an email to Blackpool. But in terms of how to get gigs as a beginner kids stroke comedy magician, I always say to people, what you have to do before you start promoting yourself, you need to make sure that you look the part, okay? Because these days, when people are searching for a magician, or anything, but especially a magician, what happens is they're going to be searching around. They're not just going to look at your website. They're going to be looking at other people's websites as well. They're going to be looking around at everybody and everything and trying to decide on what's best for them. So your goal should be to present yourself in such a way that when people start looking for you, you come across as somebody that they would want to book, right? So you don't want to spend, here's the thing, lead generation is important. What I mean by lead generation is generating leads, generating inquiries. Those inquiries turn into bookings, right? Lead generation is vitally important. In fact, some would argue it's the most important thing for any business, because if there's not leads or inquiries, there's not bookings. If there's not bookings, there's no turnover. If there's no turnover, there's no profit. If there's no profit, you don't have a business. You just have a paid hobby that's not even paid, right? So it's all about lead generation. But when you generate leads, imagine a big funnel. And all of the leads are dropping into the top of the funnel. And then what's happening is, as the leads drop down through the funnel, some of them drop off because maybe they've seen somebody they prefer to book than you. Maybe they found somebody who's got a better price. Maybe they didn't like your website. Maybe they didn't like your social media. Whatever the reason, they drop off. And then the person at the end of the funnel, that drops out the bookings, right? And there's a couple of things with that. The first is the more leads you put into this funnel, the better, because it's a law of averages. The more people you speak to, the more likely they are that you're going to get bookings. But the other thing is you have to give each lead a chance to want to book you. So you have to present yourself in a really good light. And I would say having that in place is more important than generating the leads initially, because if you spend all of your time generating leads, but you don't look very good, you're not going to get any bookings. So you need to make sure that your social media looks good. You need to make sure that you've got social media, because that's one thing that people will use to decide whether you're the sort of person that they should book or not. You should try and get reviews from events that you've done, or maybe do some free events and get some reviews from people, something like that. You need to make sure that your website looks good. Make sure you've got photos, because a photo is worth 1,000 words. Make sure you've got a show reel, because a show reel is worth 1,000,000 words. Have all this in one place, because if you don't have it in place, what's going to happen is people are going to inquire, and when they inquire, people are going to look at your web. People are going to look for a magician. They're going to find you amongst other people, and if you don't look very good, they're not going to book you. They're going to book those other people. So the way to get around that is to make sure that all of your social proof and all of your digital assets are in place, and then you can focus on lead generation. Okay, so the next question is from Stephen Devanru, who says, "Hi Craig, being the only magician in my town, I've done 6,000 shows, and there's always the same people from one function to another function and so on. I have to buy tricks all of the time, and it costs a fortune. How do I get around this, as I cannot have the same tricks all the time?" Think about how you can be more creative. Think about creativity. So you look at my project Visible. That's like 20 routines with an invisible deck, right? Now, from an audience's point of view, they're 20 individual tricks. From my point of view, it's using the same prop. So you can take the same prop and you can change it, either from a technical point of view or a presentational point of view. You can change it to become a completely different trick. And that's what you want to do. You want to take those tricks that you've already got, that you say that you can't use again because it's the same people, and think about how you can present it differently. How can I present this card trick, or how I can present this routine in a completely different way and make it look like a different trick, even though it's exactly the same trick? So again, using invisible deck as an example, the classic invisible deck is to throw the invisible deck up on stage, blah, 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 all the invisible stuff. But you can do that in a million different ways. You can do that. You can use that invisible deck. Look at the Visible project. Look at Triumph. I can do a stand-up Triumph, which is based on shake and bake. And you can do that and have a completely different routine. So my advice would be to try to be more creative and look at all of the routines that you've got that you can't do anymore because you feel like you can't perform in front of the same group of people, and say to yourself, okay, let's put a pin in how I do that. That presentation, let's put a pin in it. That methodology, let's put a pin in it. What else can I do with this trick? What else can I do with this, which is going to make it completely different, and it's basically going to give me a new routine in my show? That's what I do. That's my advice to you. Okay, we got one more from Stephen Devanru, who says, "Love your channel. I am the only magician from my town in South Africa, and I watch all your videos. It's a hell of a lot. How do you manage all your time? I take my hat off to you." I'm just very good at time management, and I know when I can squeeze things in and when I can't squeeze things in. So today is a perfect example. Ryland is needing to rehearse before he goes on set with AGT. I knew that he needed to rehearse, but I've got Matt with me. So Matt's rehearsing with Rye, which gives me an hour to film this Q&A. And it's about maximizing your time and also about delegation. And I've told this story a couple of times on the channel, but it was a couple of years ago, so you might not have heard it. But here's the thing, 80% of businesses shut down within the first 5 years. And 20% of businesses that actually continue, only 20% of those fulfill their full potential. So most people that set up a business are going to fail at some point or another, or not do it as well as they could. And why is that? Well, the reason's really simple. It's because most people who become magicians, they give up a job to become a magician. Most people don't go from school into magic. They make that decision, right? At some point, they've decided to not do what they're doing and do magic instead, because they love magic and they love the idea of being a full-time performer and just going out and doing shows and that's great. If you get an agent or you get somebody to manage you, that's amazing. But most people don't have that luxury. So what happens is you become a full-time magician and you wake up on day one and you go down into your kitchen and open your laptop and you can't do any magic because you've got no shows. So you very quickly realize that you have to become the marketing guy, and you have to learn how to do marketing because you need to do marketing in order to book these shows. And in order to do marketing, you have to learn about SEO. So you have to be the SEO guy. Then you have to learn about websites. So you have to be the website guy. You have to learn about having photos. So you need to network and get photos from somewhere. Then you need to start creating videos and assets, and then you need to learn how to do social media, and you realize, well, you're going to need Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn and all of this stuff. And then you start reading more into it, and you realize that you need to set up customer avatars and understand your niche, and then go to networking events just to generate these leads. But then when you start getting these leads, then you have to become the sales guy, because you have to take those leads and reply to them and turn them into a booking. So you have to speak to people on the phone. You have to email people. You have to learn how to create ad copy. Then people start booking in. So you have to learn how to be a customer service person. You need to learn how to do contracts. You need to learn how to take people on a customer journey through to, the successful delivery of the service. Then you have to learn about taking payments, because you have to take the money off them. You have to learn about bookkeeping, and you have to learn about accountancy, and there's a million other things. This is just a few things that you have to learn, and that's why most people quit. They quit because they had a desire to do one thing, which is become a magician, and they realized very early on that that's something that they're not really spending any time doing, because they're spending most of their time doing stuff that they don't enjoy, and they're spending no time at all doing the thing that they wanted to do, which was do magic. And that's why people quit. And the way to get around it is there's three ways to get around it. The first is learn to love that stuff. So I've got a background in marketing. I love marketing. So in my company, I'm the director of marketing and sales. But then the second way to do it is to take the stuff that you're not very good at and delegate it out. Like, I'm not very good at accounts. I'm not very good at admin. I'm not very good at bookkeeping. I understand the process, but if you put me in charge of it, it wouldn't get done. So I have an admin team I outsource to. That I have staff, and you don't need staff. You can get a virtual PA who can do that stuff for you. But understand that if you're going to be entrepreneurial, you can work on your business or in your business. And if you spend all of your time working in your business, there's no time to spend working on your business. And that's what's going to be generating sustainable growth, right? So, so that's the second way. So you can either learn to love it, you can delegate it out, or you can find time. You can learn how to do really effective time management and learn to maximize every second of your day. And that's what I do. I maximize every second of my day. Doesn't mean that I don't work 24/7. I don't work 24/7. I spend lots of time with my family. But when I'm working, I make sure that I've got all of my ducks in the row. So I'm not just sitting there pretending to work and being a busy fool, as my mentor, Doug Dorby, would say. So yeah, that's probably a long-winded question to answer to the question, but hopefully some of that helps. Okay, so the next question is from JRW Magic, who says, this isn't a question, more of an honest statement. Anyone who says that Craig Petty is rude and unkind is telling lies. Craig is one of the, if not the nicest person in magic. Every time I chat with him, he's very welcoming and kind. Truly a great person. Dude, thank you so much. I wish everybody felt that way. Unfortunately, I got a lot of people who aren't my biggest fans, and that's cool. Whatever. It is what it is. Sometimes I take a while to get back to people if they message me. Again, this comes back to the time management thing. I probably get about 700 messages a day, and if I spent all day, every day answering them, I would get no work done. So I prioritize what I do, and I try to answer as many messages as I can, and sometimes it's not possible. But I try to get in touch with as many people as possible, and I really appreciate everything you've said. Okay, so the next question is Adrian Suter, who says, hi Craig, how reliable is the timing force? And what would be a good out if it doesn't work? I see professionals doing it all the time, even in a stressful environment like TV or FISM, but many hobbyists seem reluctant to use it because it could go wrong. And then there's a reply here from Magic Elliot. Hope you're doing well, mate. My comment has been deleted twice. Not massively fair, I don't think. Well, I haven't deleted anything, and I'm pretty sure my team wouldn't have deleted anything either, so I don't know what's gone on there. But the only time we delete something is if it's really mean or rude or condescending or something like that, which I'm sure you wouldn't have done. So I'm not sure why it's not there, but trust me, I didn't delete it. But in terms of the answer to the question, I don't have a deck of cards here with me. I'll tell you what I have got over here. There we go. I'll tell you what I have got over here. I got a Cube 52 deck. Look at that. Beautiful. So, how reliable is the timing force? It's very reliable. it's very, very reliable. And maybe I'll do a video on the timing force. There's something on the Netrix, but maybe I'll do a video on the timing force. But if I want to force a particular card, like I'm forcing this white one here, if I want to force a particular card, and I don't know if I can do this, so the break is held about 3/4 of the way down, and it's all about what you say. So I'm going to cut packets of cards onto the table. As I do, anytime you want to, I want you to say stop, and you cut 3 piles as you say that sentence. I want you to say stop. Then you stop talking, and you cut directly to the break. Now, 9 times out of 10, people are going to stop there, in which case you've got the force card. And if they don't, you cut another packet of cards. And if they say stop there, you take the top card from this pile. And then if they haven't said stop there, which 99 times out of 100 they will, you just go, oh, there's not really enough left to cut to. Let's try it again. And then you do it again, but you do it a little bit quicker. So you do it again and you say, look, remember, I'm going to cut piles onto the table. Just say stop. Stop there. Okay, there it is. It's very, very reliable. I'll probably do a video on this at some point and talk more about it. But it is very reliable. I've never had it go wrong, ever. I've never had it go wrong because there's no way for it to go wrong. When you understand the psychology behind the timing force, there's no way for it to go wrong. But what I'll do when I get back from LA, I'll do a proper video of the timing force and exactly why it works and how it works, and I'll put that up as like a Thursday video or something. Okay, so the next question is from Nevio_024, who says, Key Ring by Ian Bailey looks super cool, and I'd love to perform it. Unfortunately, the keys are cut, which is kind of annoying because I want to perform it with the same set as Keymaster. Since I'm assuming there won't be a there won't be an uncut Keymaster version of it, I'd love to hear your tips on how you could implement this. If I was going to do it, I mean, they do look very similar to the Keymaster keys anyway. So if I was going to go from Keymaster into this and I was using uncut keys, what I'd probably do is I'd get the regular key from what's it called again? Key ring. I get the regular key into sort of a finger palm. And I'd take the Keymaster key and I'd say, hey, have you noticed that the keys aren't cut? Well, you know, this is how a magician cuts keys. And I literally do the same sort of spellbound move that I teach in Gatekeeper. If you've got Gatekeeper, you know what I'm talking about. I do the same sort of spellbound move that I use in Gatekeeper to magically make the keys cut. And then you could give them that and they could look at that, and then you're into the main routine. You're back into Ian's routine. So that's probably the easiest way to do it. The other way that you could do it is you could just get some flash paper. This would be a fun way to do it. Just have the cut key and finger palm and take the uncut key and do a shuttle pass. So you've got it here. They think it's the uncut key, but it's the cut key. This hand goes into the pocket, ditches the key and brings out some flash paper. You wrap the key up in the flash paper, so now you can't tell that it's cut. And you take a lighter and you light it, and you drop the key, and as you drop the key, it looks like it's been cut with a big flash. So that would also be another way to do it. That would be super fun as well. Okay, so the next question is from Nevio_024, who says, are there any other Keymaster expansion sets planned? Gatekeeper looks super cool. I instantly ordered it. Yes. When we bought out Keymaster, just before we bought out Keymaster, I said to Penguin, you know what would be really cool? It'd be really cool if we had a series of routines with keys that we could use, that we could offer, that all kind of match the Keymaster set. So you end up having, you know, like with coins, how you have coins and you've got all these different gimmicks that you can use with the coins. I hypothesized that it would be amazing to have the Keymaster set and then have lots of really cool expansion sets that come off, but all match Keymaster. And they love the idea. So we plan on bringing one out every year. So in 2022, we brought out Keymaster. In 2023, we brought out Gatekeeper. In 2024, we're mulling between two. There's two that I'm currently workshopping. We don't want to do more than one a year. And we're currently mulling between two. Both of them are kick-ass. Both of them are very different to Keymaster and very different to Gatekeeper, but really kind of expand on the whole concept of using keys with magic. So we're going back and forth at the moment between two. But yes, absolutely 100%. There's going to be more expansions to Keymaster. Okay, so the next question is Jonah Berg, who says, I have some ideas for the Craig test and have Matt to really get a chance to fool you. As you know, you are a very experienced magician. I doubt he'll fool you with cards. However, if you have him do mentalism, maybe he will fool you. You know, there's a good chance. I'm not as well read in mentalism as I am in magic. So there's a very good chance. And Matt does gravitate towards mentalism an awful lot. So, you know, maybe that's a really good idea to get him to actually start doing more mentalism for me on the Craig test. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Adrian Suter says, are there any color-changing knives that work really well as pocket knives? And I'd say yes. The answer is the David Regal set and the original Joe Mogar set. I think they both work really well as pocket knives. But yeah, David Regal's or Joe Mogar's I think are really good. Okay, so the next question is from Josh 483, who says, quick question for you, Craig. I've been wanting to get into billiard ball manipulation and I've been looking around for a good source to learn them from. I know you mentioned Levent's Ultimate Guide a while ago. However, have you heard of a project called Logic by Eden Chow? The trailer looks pretty cool and I'm trying to decide between getting that one and Levent's. Do you have any thoughts on which one would give you more of an in-depth into this classic routine? I'm leaning towards the classic moves. I'm all for learning the classic moves, but I'd like to have the option of getting into more advanced and fooling sequences as well. Well, look, I know that Ryland has got Logic and he's currently looking into it. I haven't got it. I don't really do the multiplying balls. Ryland does, I don't. And he's currently looking at Logic and he's looking at Levent's Ultimate Guide as well. So what I'll do, when we get through AGT, I'll get him to do a review show special, and the two of us will compare those two projects. I personally think Levent's is the best, but I can't make that statement because I've not seen Logic. So bear with me and we'll do a video up comparing the two. Okay, next is one of my favorite posters, the Drunk Magic Ukulele Player, who says, I agree last week's question didn't come across well. A couple of ideas for a no slight coin vanish would be great. Also, I have a problem using loops as my hands and arms are very hairy and the loops keep getting caught. I could shave my arm, but having one gorilla arm and one that looks like an unbaked French stick could give it away. Do you have this problem? I do have very hairy arms, yes. I just, it's so funny. I do have hairy arms, but I do use loops and I just deal with the fact that they're hairy and I get away with it. It doesn't seem to be a problem for me. I would say if you're going to shave your arm, shave both of them. And in terms of coin vanishes that are completely and totally slight free, I'm doing a video on this at some point. But in the Alakazam range, Alakazam Magic, they do a range for kids. Can't remember what it's called. But there's a really good coin. Let's have a look, see if we can find it. There we go. Let's have a look. Shop Magic. Shop Magic. They've got so much stuff on the beginner's magic. I think it's beginners. Maybe it's not. They've got this. They've got this special thing. The Amazing Magic Range. That's it. So they've got this thing called the Amazing Magic Range, and they've got this trick called the Crystal Coin Case. You can see a video of Wayne Goodman on the trailer. And it's only like $10 or something, or £5 or 10 quid, $5. The Amazing Magic Crystal Coin Case. And it is one of the easiest ways to vanish a coin I've ever seen. It's great. It's very, very simple. So look at the Crystal Coin Case, because that's £5 and you'll be able to vanish a coin with no sleight of hand using that case. Also look at is it the Buddha paper mystery? Buddha paper mystery is a great way to vanish a coin without any skill. So those are two ways right there. Using a handkerchief with a coin already in the hem of the handkerchief, so you put the coin underneath, but you leave it in your hand, and you're getting them to hold the coin in the handkerchief. That's quite good. I remember seeing years ago a coin vanish which fooled me. I can't remember who did it, and it was a stooge. And what he did is he had a handkerchief and he had put the coin underneath the handkerchief. And he went to 4 different people and he says, can you feel it underneath there? And they feel it, yeah. Can you feel it underneath there? Yeah, they can feel it. Can you feel it underneath there? Yeah. And the last person, he said, can you feel it underneath there? And this was the stooge, and he just took the coin away and he went, yeah. So from the audience's point of view, that coin is absolutely underneath that handkerchief. and then he goes boom, and he shows it's gone. So I'm going to do a video on this at some point, but there's some ideas for you. Okay, so the next question is from CJ010, who says, hey Craig, what's your favorite Out of This World? I love David Regal's because he does the Out of This World, but he also separates the suits, which is pretty cool. I also like the version that Nemeth Phoenix and Lloyd Barnes puts on Cube 52, which is based on the Spiral Principle by Stephen Leithwaite. If you've not seen that, that's incredible. Have a look at that. And probably my favorite is Pete Turner's Out of This World, which I think he recently talked about. I've known it for a while, but I think he recently talked about it on his Vanishing Ink Masterclass. All of those are really good. Okay, talking about Magic Elliott, we've got a question from Magic Elliott here who says, who are your favorite magicians who you'd recommend younger viewers of your channel look up to? I'm aware that many of your viewers won't know people like Fred Capps and Norm Nielsen. Well, yeah, I mean, Fred Capps, Norm Nielsen, absolutely people you should look up to. For me, the best person, I've talked about this person all the time, I did a 5x5 recently, is the one and only Patrick Page. Oh, he's upside down, sorry Pat. The one and only Patrick Page. Patrick Page is brilliant. If you haven't got this book, it's killer. You can get it directly from his estate. Patrick Page, for me, is one of the biggest names that you should know. As a newer magician and getting into magic, you really should study Pat's material because a lot of the stuff that you see being done these days, it's probably based on something that Pat Page did. Okay, so we've got one last question from the Wow Factory who says, hey there, Craig, trust you well, love the Netrix, thank you very much. Want to find out if you can go into a bit of detail on how to run and start an agency like Nonstop Kids. Yes, I'm doing a video for this on the Netrix. I've got a little bit sidetracked because of AGT, but as soon as I come back from AGT, I'm planning on putting this video together. So by mid-September, if you're on the Netrix, there's going to be a full video breakdown of how to set up an agency and what you need to know about setting up an agency. I've had a few people ask for this. It's not something I'd bother putting on YouTube because nobody would watch it, nobody would care about it. But it's definitely going on the Netrix on the silver level. And as soon as I get back from the States, that's going to be my first thing that I do. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Once again, thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. If anybody is watching this in America, then in 2 days' time, on Tuesday, the 29th of August, Ryland is going to be performing live on America's Got Talent. And it would mean the world to me if you guys could vote for him. If you've ever enjoyed any of my content that I've put online and you like Ryland's performance on Tuesday, I beg you from the bottom of my heart, if you could vote for Ryland, that would be fantastic. He's on Tuesday, and I can't wait for people to see what he's doing. He's rehearsing, he's doing a great job. Don't forget, if you want to join the Netrix, you can do so by going to www.thenetrix.com, and you can go check that out. The Discord server that Chris James is currently spearheading is doing absolutely brilliant and just goes from strength to strength, so go check that out. And don't forget, at 9 o'clock tonight on Magic TV, I've got a review show special. I'm going to be looking at Capsize by Seth Race, the legend himself, Mr. Seth Race. And I actually got a chance to be a part of that project as well, so look out for that. But thanks once again for joining me. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.